Hello, this is Father John Kerns. I'm at Our Lady of the Lake Catholic Church. Today is the third Wednesday in the third week of Lent. We're still in Lent, and today also happens to be the feast day of St. Cyril of Jerusalem, a great pastor from the 3rd century. Much of what we know about the RCIA is from his teaching. Today in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, we hear, "For what great nation is there," says Moses to the people of God. "What great nation is there that has God so close to it as the Lord our God is to us whenever we call upon him? Or what great nation has statutes and decrees that are as just as this whole law which I am setting before you today?" Moses was telling the people of Israel that other than the other religions that were manifest at the time, which had oppressive gods who made severe demands upon their people, the God of Israel was a God of love, and a God who laid out the principles to help us to love one another. One of the greatest priests that this archdiocese ever produced was Monsignor Thomas J. Tobin. He was very gifted in the labor movement and the liturgical movement. This is back in the 1930s and 40s and 50s. He died in the early 70s. But during his presbyterate, he was very influential in this archdiocese and went to all the Second Vatican Council gatherings in Rome. But he also, at one time during the Second World War, was part of a triad of negotiators, somebody representing labor, somebody representing management, and then Monsignor Tobin. They were asked by the city of Portland to help settle labor disputes. And a priest who knew Monsignor Tobin at the time said one of the things they were so impressed with him is that when they would have disputes, he would have principles based on our Catholic social teaching, based on Rerum Novarum, the encyclical by Pope Leo XIII about labor and the industrial movement and what is most just for labor and management. He had these principles to lay out, and it helped to guide the discussions, and they resolved everything to keep the war effort moving ahead. Well, that's how our faith is, that the law that we have is a law that calls us to love God and our neighbor. In fact, the gospel for today, from the Gospel of Matthew chapter 5, Jesus says to the disciples, "Do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. No, I have come to fulfill, not abolish." And we know that Jesus, in his love for us and reminding us that the most important law is to love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and our neighbor as ourselves, that's the law that's going to guide us through this coronavirus and give us the courage that we need and the compassion to move ahead in a loving fashion and come through this by God's blessing, wiser and more generous and more loving and more compassionate. God bless you.